Obviously, he's a rough rider. He's loyal. He's committed to winning. We know all of that. And he's one of the best players on their team. As far as I'm concerned, the brother's a big-time player, and I love his personality. I got a lot of love for him. Y'all know that. He's been on this show. Here's the only time where I would say to you that I bring into question, dare I say, his honesty. I find it very difficult to believe that any real player in the National Football League went to the Jets and said, I want to stay. I have a problem believing that. That's just me. I have no evidence of it whatsoever, Max Kellerman, Molly Kieran. I have no evidence of it whatsoever. But I find it very, very, very difficult to believe that Jamal Adams, who's a rough rider, a baller, that has been mired in football purgatory playing for the New York Jets, 5-11 first year, 4-12 last year. Adam Gase is his new coach this year, which is an absolute joke because he never deserved a damn job. And by the way, it's a damn shame that he pulled a power move and got McCagnon out of there, and he's still there, having no business whatsoever to be the head coach of the New York Jets. I find it very difficult to believe that a rough rider who is highly intelligent, knows how to play football, has got the heart to do it as well. Looking at the situation that is the moribund, disgustingly embarrassing New York Jets, and came to the conclusion, I want to stay. I don't want to leave. Just be real with me and make sure you don't move me because this is where I want to be. That is the only time in the years that I've known Jamal Adams, watching him play football, interviewing him and talking to him, that he said something that made me raise my eyebrow because I just find it difficult to comprehend that anybody would want to be a member of the New York Jets right now.
I never want Woody Johnson to sell the team. This is perfect. They're always terrible. They're incompetently run. Stephen A., you've pointed out the Adam Gase hire. The first thing you do when you show up at the introductory press conference is have such bizarre behavior that Stephen A. Smith can turn it into a meme on day one? This is a poorly run franchise, and Stephen A., here's the latest example. Let's take him at his word. I agree with you. Jamal Adams, you really went to them and said, even if he did, his agent didn't go around and say, hey, get him out of here. But let's take him at his word for a second, okay? Mm-hmm. He said, I want to stay. The GM said, you're going to stay. Then he turned around behind his back and tried to shop him. Then you got to move him. You can't then not move him if that's what you plan to. He didn't successfully move him.
Well, Max, here's the point, and I disagree with you to some degree, and I disagree with Ryan Clark. I remember I heard Joe Douglas, the general manager for the New York Jets, I believe, who was on the Michael Kay show in New York yesterday. Michael Kay and those boys doing an outstanding job. And by the way, congratulations to them winning that ratings war. Michael Kay doing his thing. Michael Kay, Don Juan LeGrec, and the crew. But let's be very, very clear about this, all right? You've got a GM that went on the air and basically made sure to have the last word by saying, excuse me, we made sure he understood we're not shopping him. But obviously, if someone calls, you listen. Now, Ryan Clark, if I remember correctly, this morning was saying, you don't take those calls, you don't listen. That's nonsense. You always listen. You can have absolutely no intent whatsoever to move somebody, to get rid of somebody, or anything like that. But you still listen. You never know what you'll hear. There's absolutely, positively nothing wrong with an executive willing to listen to a call, even if you end up hanging up on a person after you hear what they had to say. So this notion that Douglas has done something wrong by simply taking a phone call to hear what somebody had to say, that's wrong to indict that man as an executive for simply listening. It's entirely plausible that he listened with the intent to not do a damn thing, and just because he listened doesn't mean that he was shopping Jamal Adams. So I don't think that that's an indictment against Douglas. What's a real indictment is this apparent affinity he seems to have for a coach in Adam Gase who doesn't deserve it. He didn't do that great of a job in Miami. He certainly doesn't personify what New York is all about. Adam Gase comes on the same Michael Kay show and acknowledges, I'm not doing a good job. If he was on television, we might be asking, did he look high again like he did during his press conference? You understand what I'm saying? I mean, we don't know what the hell is going on with this guy other than the fact he doesn't look like a very good coach. He doesn't seem to be doing a very good job, and he doesn't seem to be the man that needs to be at the helm for the New York Jets. Jets. The only thing I disagree with Michael Kay and Don Juan LaGreca about is they're saying, oh, we don't advocate him being fired. I'll be damned if I don't, because he didn't deserve the job to begin with.
Stephen A., even Joe Douglas, even if that interpretation of events is correct, and in fact, he's just fielded a phone call, you'd be negligent in your duty if you didn't hear what the other side has to say, right? Even if you accept those as the facts,
I do.
Okay, now you got to pay Jamal Adams, right? Now you're going to have to really break him off because you didn't move him. You didn't get value for him when you could. You have nothing on the team unless you believe in your quarterback still in the near future. I think Darnold can be a good quarterback eventually with a different coach. He's still extremely young, but maybe not really in the near future. This is the time where if you have assets that you don't consider fundamental building blocks for your franchise going forward, you move them for as much as you can get for them. So now you're in a position where the only thing that really makes sense is to pay a guy like a franchise player who's disgruntled.
Well, so what? What the hell are you, dear Abby? What do you mean disgruntled? Who's not disgruntled playing for the New York Jets? They're the New York Jets.
Right.
You're always disgruntled. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.